Good afternoon and welcome to this small business session where you will be trained on eVA registration and SWaM and micro certification with Randy Brown. Randy Brown is the Business Services Manager with the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, and we are thrilled to have him here today. This event is sponsored by the VSU Center for Entrepreneurship and our Minority Small Business Launch Center. My name is Dr. Patrice Perry Rivers, and I'm the director of the center and an assistant dean in the College of Business. Our program was funded by Go Virginia, which is administered by the Department of Housing and Community Development, but the fund was funded by the Virginia Governor's Office, and it is intended for us to spur economic development in the Richmond metropolitan statistical area. We offer business development, training, and an array of services to current and prospective business owners to help them launch and scale. And we are supported by an array of regional partners, including the SBSD, the SBA, chambers, entrepreneurship support organizations, municipalities, other higher ed institutions, and more. We are, again, thrilled to have Mr. Brown with us today, and I would like to turn this session over to him for him to explain eVA registration and SWaM certification.
Okay, that's better. Thanks, Dr. Perry Rivers, and good morning, everyone. So as mentioned, I'm Randy Brown, and I'm one of the business services managers with the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. And what I'm going to do this morning, there's a lot of talk about getting SWaM certified. And what I'm going to do this morning is talk about, why you want to become SWaM certified. I'll talk a little bit about my agency and what it is that we do, the services that we offer. And by the way, everything we do is I used to say it's free of charge, but actually is prepaid with your tax dollars. And then the eVA registration process has actually changed somewhat. Okay, that's fine. Great. I see that, Bianca. So what we'll do is I want to go into eVA and show you how to navigate the eVA system to make it beneficial to your business. Okay, so that was perfect timing. All right. So with that, Bianca, I'm going to ask if you would just and if there's anyone else on, just briefly introduce yourselves. With your name and the name of your company and where you're located and how long you've been in business.
Yeah, my name is Bianca, and so I do a couple of things. I'm actually a nonprofit executive director, but I'm also an adjunct professor at VSU, where I teach in the Department of Teaching and Learning. I teach a couple of nonprofit courses, but I also have a consulting business where I've been doing like a couple of projects here and there on the side for the last couple of years. And so now I really want to drill down and just put the things in place necessary so that I can slowly build the consulting, because I would like to retire doing consulting. I see myself running the nonprofit for, I would say, another 15 years. And by the time I'm 50, I just want to be doing consulting. So I'm not looking to really have this big, huge business right now, because my nonprofit role takes up a significant portion of my time. However, I realize that I'm doing all these little projects here and there, and that it would be nice to slowly build out what I already have. So I do consulting around organizational development, program development, curriculum writing, more so related to the program services, organizational development field, equity, training, facilitation, and things like that. So I actually started the business in January of 2022 is when I went ahead and was like, just go ahead and create the actual entity, because prior to that, I would just do stuff as like an independent contractor. So January of 2022 is when I actually created the entity, and I just got my business license recently. I registered for EVA a few months ago just to play around in the system. So now I want to just, make sure that I have the necessary structures, supports, and also knowledge in place so I can continue to, just slowly build.
Great, thank you. Okay, all right. So with that, now, is your firm SWaM certified? Okay, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, and then we'll get into to eVA and how it can benefit you. And actually, since you're the only one on, okay, no, we'll be able to work it because I don't want to share. Well, no, we'll be fine. Okay, I was just thinking aloud. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so starting off, I mean, there's a lot of talk about SWaM. You might hear it from state agencies, from local governments, from private sector firms. But I want to talk a little bit about what it is my agency does, and then what are the benefits of being SWaM certified, and you assess whether or not it's worth your while. So the agency, the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, we're a state agency. Sometimes we're confused with some of the federal partners that we work with, such as the SBA or the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, but we are the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. We have basically 4 primary roles, and one is certification. And the term SWaM is really an acronym for small businesses, women-owned businesses, and minority-owned businesses. So we manage the certification process for SWaM, but we also manage certification for DBE, or Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And the DBE program is actually a federal agency or federal program owned by the U.S. Department of Transportation. We also, another division within the agency is the Business Development and Outreach Services, which is the group that I work with. And we really support economic development, and we serve as the educational arm of the agency. So we provide one-on-one business counseling, we provide various workshops as well as conferences, all geared towards helping you as a business owner develop and grow your business. And we work with several partners, including the Small Business Launch Center at VSU. Actually, last year, and that was the first time we did it in a few years because of COVID, but we had a major conference at VSU. Going from good to great, and it really focused on marketing your business. And as I mentioned, everything we provide is free of charge, so it was absolutely free to the business owners. But we had a number of subject matter experts present on various topics. Some of those firms included KPMG, which is one of the premier consulting firms in the world. The Martin Agency, also one of the best marketing or advertising agencies in the world, and some others as well. We also provide access to capital, and that's through the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority, or VSBFA. And VSBFA provides direct loans up to $50,000 to the small business owner, but they also provide or come in to provide indirect loans by working with SBA approved banks. One of the newest, the newest division to the agency is sourcing and compliance. In sourcing and compliance, their role is really to help state buyers identify and work with SWaM certified firms. So SWaM, the acronym stands for Small Businesses, Women-Owned Businesses, and Minority-Owned Businesses. And the purpose is really to enable the small business community in Virginia and other states as well, because it's not exclusive to Virginia businesses, but to help small businesses participate in the state procurement system. You know, the state buys practically everything, but were it not for the SWaM program, you would have huge companies such as Walmart, you know, Colgate-Palmolive, et cetera, these huge companies coming in and really dominating the market because they can just offer a better price. So the SWaM program was set up in an attempt to level the playing field so that small businesses could actually participate in procurement. The program is both race and gender neutral. Excuse me. So it doesn't matter your ethnicity nor your gender. A SWaM is a SWaM is a SWaM. Also, the program does not provide preferential treatment to SWaM, to Virginia-based businesses. You know, so a firm in Maryland that is SWaM certified has the same opportunity to participate as a Virginia-based firm. So each year, the Commonwealth of Virginia spends billions of dollars on goods and services. That SWaM certification, though, is, you know, just one arsenal or one of the things you have in your arsenal to market to state agencies, because all state agencies have an aspirational goal of spending 42% of their discretionary spending with SWaM certified firms. So that's more than 40 cents out of the dollar should be going to SWaM certified firms. Now that's an aspirational goal. Also, public colleges and universities. VSU is a public university. So they also have, you know, that SWaM purchasing criteria that they're trying to achieve as well. So you have all of the public colleges and universities and all of the state agencies, and they do have the SWaM aspirational goal of spending 42%. You also have local municipalities. And I'll say this, so the city of Richmond, they are very aggressive about spending with minority-owned businesses. So they utilize our SWaM database. Henrico County also utilizes our SWaM database. And Henrico County actually spends more than 55% of their discretionary spending with SWaM certified firms. On the other hand, Chesterfield County does not utilize the SWaM database. But you should get your business registered with Chesterfield County because they do have, or they try to spend with small women and minority-owned businesses. They don't formally use the SWaM program, but they do try to spend with small women and minority-owned businesses. Also, you want to get registered in Chesterfield County because they also do not use eVA. They have a system called Ping. And if you're looking to grow your business with Chesterfield County, you need to be registered in Ping because that way you'll be notified of solicitations. Also, private sector firms such as Dominion, Altria, I know those two actually use the SWaM database. And whereas the state's program is both race and gender neutral, in the private sector, that's not the case. So Dominion, as well as Altria, will aggressively seek out minority and or women-owned businesses. But they utilize our SWaM database because once you've gone through the SWaM program or SWaM certification process, they know that you've been adequately vetted. So in order to qualify as a small business in Virginia, and let me say this, well, first of all, the company has to be at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more individuals. And together with affiliates, has to have fewer than 250 or fewer employees, or have average annual gross revenue of $10 million or less, and that's averaged over 3 years. Now, given that broad definition, 99.5% of all businesses in Virginia are eligible for SWaM certification. But they don't, but for whatever reason, those firms are not certified because they've not gone through the process. To be a woman-owned business, so you certainly have to meet the criteria stated above as a small business, but you also have to be at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women who are U.S. citizens or legal residents. And similarly, to be a minority-owned business, at least 51% ownership has to rest with an ethnic minority and control. Given that broad definition of a small business, and a few years ago, this micro designation was also created. In the micro designation, or the criteria are that you have 25 or fewer employees, and that's the company seeking certification as well as any affiliates, and average annual gross receipts of less than $3 million or less. So the constraints are a little tighter, but most companies qualify as a micro business as well. And if you are a service disabled veteran, first off, thank you for your service, but there is a special set aside for service disabled veterans who are also SWaM certified. In that each agency has a criteria or has a goal of spending 3% of their spending with service disabled veterans who are SWaM certified. I've mentioned briefly the DBE program, and the DBE program is owned by the U.S. Department of Transportation, and it typically involves anything dealing with transportation. So whether it's highways, bridges, roads, airports, shipyards, anything dealing with transportation will have a federal designation or federal criteria of spending DBE, money with DBEs. Right now in our database, we have over 15,000 firms that are SWaM approved for SWaM, have their SWaM certification. And almost half have the micro designation as well. But actually many more are eligible for that micro designation. They just don't know it and therefore don't seek it. But it's a simple process on the application. So in fiscal year 2021, and our fiscal year actually runs from July 1 through June 30th. So we spent $2.4 billion with SWaM businesses. Okay, so why do you want to become SWaM certified? So first off, I mentioned, the state has an aspirational goal of spending 42% of discretionary spending with SWaM certified firms. So if your firm is SWaM certified and another firm is not SWaM certified, ceteris paribus, and all things being equal, you're going after the same job, you're going after the same solicitation, your firm being SWaM certified actually has an advantage, because by using you, the buyer will help his agency achieve that 42% goal. Executive Order 35 was implemented a few years ago, and that placed greater emphasis on using SWaM certified firms. Because in the past, whether if a firm used a SWaM firm or not, it really didn't matter. There were no repercussions. But as a result of Executive Order 35, stronger emphasis is being placed there, or has been placed there, and buyers are more aggressively seeking to utilize SWaM certified firms where it makes sense. And I see that in the field because we're getting more and more requests from buyers to help them find SWaM certified firms, or help them get their firms that are not certified, help them achieve that certification. So last year, the Commonwealth spent $8 billion on goods and services. And for every $100 spent, 31 went to a SWaM certified firm. So in other words, we came in at 31%, where that aspirational goal is 42. So there's really an opportunity here to help buyers as well as help your own business. reach that 42%. For solicitations less than $10,000, buyers don't have to put that out to competition. All the buyer really needs to do is pick up the phone and call one SWaM certified firm and give him or her the business. So, as a consultant, the space you're playing in to a large degree is going to be under that $10,000 threshold. So it behooves you to get that certification because if you have a relationship with the buyer, again, all he or she would have to do is just pick up the phone and call you. And you don't have to compete, but you have to be certified in order to do that. They'll also, if it's less than $10,000, those are earmarked for micros. So you can't get the micro without getting the SWaM. The micro is a subset of the SWaM. So, and it is just a simple process for getting it. But if it's less than $10,000, those are earmarked for micros. Now, they don't have to go to a micro because, at the end of the day, low price wins. You have some advantages for being SWaM certified, but at the end of the day, for most of the solicitations, low price wins. So if you're coming in at a price of $9,999 and a non-SWaM firm is coming in at a price of $100 to do the exact same thing, the buyer is going to go with that non-SWaM firm. And being a taxpayer, I appreciate the buyer going with that other firm because I don't want my tax dollars being wasted either. So they have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that that they're spending appropriately. Also, by being SWaM certified, there are opportunities to serve as subcontractors with for larger contracts. So your firm can partner with, let's say, a KPMG, which, by the way, is very aggressive about working with SWaM certified firms. But a huge consulting firm, which certainly is not eligible for that SWaM certification, but if KPMG is going after a solicitation, it would help them to have SWaM subcontractors. Because at the end of the day, the buyer really doesn't care whether that spending, to help them get to that 42% goal, whether that spending is coming from a prime or a sub. All they care about is that the dollars are going to a SWaM certified firm. So there are tremendous subcontracting opportunities. And I mentioned the private sector. Dominion, it's interesting. I was coming back off of vacation last year, and the supplier diversity manager from Dominion contacted me and just asking about a particular firm that he was interested in using because he couldn't find them on our database, and I was able to help him and direct him to where he could find them. So Dominion is very aggressive about working with SWaM certified firms. Altria, I met with the director from Altria's supplier diversity because in the past they hadn't used our database, but now they are very aggressive about using our database as well because they recognize that if you come through that certification, you have been properly vetted. So that if you do get the designations as being a woman and minority owned, which in your case you probably would, Bianca, they know that you've been properly vetted and you're not serving as a front for another company. Local governments also utilize the SWaM certification. So I mentioned the city of Richmond, I mentioned Henrico County, but also take a look at surrounding areas that you can adequately service. So I know Virginia Beach, which is not part of my region, but Virginia Beach utilizes our SWaM database. And there are other localities as well that will also utilize the SWaM database when they're putting out solicitations. And last, why wouldn't you do it? It's just another weapon in your marketing arsenal to help you market your business to the government, but also to the private sector. It just makes your company more attractive, and it doesn't cost you anything. So there's really no downside to getting that certification. These links are valuable. So this first is a link to the SBSD, the Small Business and Supply Diversity website. And on there, you find an abundance of information on our various divisions. And the second is for the SWaM application portal. And the portal, you know, is just that, it's the certification application portal. And then there's the link to our business development and outreach events page. And all of our events are posted through Eventbrite. It's just a matter of registering. One of the advantages that came as a result of COVID is that everything we do is being done, well, a lot of what we do is being done virtually. You know, at first everything was virtual, but now as things are starting to open up, we're starting to do more in-person events. And I've had a number of in-person events, quite frankly. But you may, you know, see an event that's being held in Northern Virginia, and given you're in Chesterfield County or in the, you know, near Chesterfield, rather than spend 3 days on the road to get to Northern Virginia to attend, you know, a 1 or 2 hour workshop and then spend 3 days traveling back, you can, from the comfort of your home or office, just access that workshop. So a lot of things are being done virtually, although we have opened up to in-person events as well. Any questions so far?
No, I don't have any questions. I just know that I definitely want to apply. And so I was just sitting here looking at the list of requirements and putting all my things together in an electronic folder.
That's great. That's great. Because I'll be doing a SWaM, and I'll schedule this. I'll do a SWaM hands-on. I did one, and actually, were you registered to attend the one at the NBL?
I registered because I really wanted to come, but when I see stuff like that, that's not, well, I see it on social media, but my schedule is really busy. So I need to schedule something well in advance to block the time off. I was so glad to see that you were doing this because I said, well, maybe I can just hop on from home and just get the basics, but I'm putting my stuff together in a folder now, but I haven't filed my taxes yet. I just started it last year. So that's really the only thing on here that I see that I don't have is the tax return in the 941, which is that quarterly tax statement.
Great. Okay. And I'm glad this is a small group. So let me address that right now. So you started in 2022, January of 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your tax season really hasn't hit yet.
Okay.
So you won't be required to file taxes. And you're filing a Schedule C, right?
Yes.
So is your company structured as an LLC?
Yes.
Okay. And you're probably going to file a Schedule C. And depending upon when you submit the application, they may ask for your taxes or they may not, because you have had some revenue. So they may ask for your taxes. Okay. But that's if you filed after the tax filing date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, so the 941 in the application, you probably indicated that you have 1 employee, counting yourself.
What application?
Oh, I'm sorry, on the SWaM application. You won't need the 941s.
Oh, okay.
When you go through the application, and we can even set up a time to do it virtually if you want, you know.
Yes.
But when you go through the application, it'll ask for the number of employees and you're going to just enter 0. Because as an LLC, you're actually a member, not an employee.
Okay.
Now, unless you have employees that I don't know about or that you haven't spoken to, you know, full-time employees for whom you're filing W-2s, then you need the 941, but otherwise you don't. So, so the 941s won't be an issue and your taxes won't be an issue.
Okay, yeah, I would like to do a virtual session hands-on as soon as possible.
Okay, then when we're done, or, you know, just shoot me an email and we'll set something up.
Okay.
But, okay. So, and you obviously have your EIN.
Yes.
Okay, your contact information, you ask for your gross receipts and number of employees, your ownership information, and your NIGP codes. We'll take a look at the NIGP codes as well.
Okay.
So these are just tips for completing the application. So, you know, your affiliate or any affiliate organizations, an affiliate is defined as having more than 10% ownership, 10% or more ownership in any other business, regardless of the line of work.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a nonprofit, and that's going to count as an affiliate.
As an affiliate to my business?
Yes,
Oh,
regardless
okay,
of the line of
okay.
work, is based on ownership, not line of work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll go through that when we do the application. Your employee count, the same thing. We'll take into account employees for this firm and for the affiliate. Gross receipts. As a registered agent, as a Virginia resident, you list yourself as a registered agent. We could probably spend some time this morning going through the NIGP codes. It'll ask if you accept credit card payments. I advise people to say yes. And then you're just going to be asked to upload all the required documents. So some of the documents that will be required will be the tax returns, although in your case, you won't need those. The 941 you won't need. Your proof of identity, which is a copy of your driver's license, proof of your proof of citizenship, which is either a copy of your birth certificate or your passport. And, you know, we'll go through all of that. The system is geared to ask for documents regardless of whether or not they're appropriate to your business. So a professional license is not appropriate or applicable to your business. So you can simply submit a statement, a professional license is not required for my business, sign and date that and upload that. And similarly, you're going to do that for whatever is not applicable that's being asked for. And when we go through the one-on-one, we'll be able to do that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is my contact information, and it's on my email address is randy.brown@sbsd.virginia.gov. And I advise people to send me an email as opposed to a phone call. It's just easier for me to communicate that way. Okay. Now I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. And actually I'm gonna go off camera. I just need to plug my laptop in, and then what I want to, then we'll jump into eVA. Okay. And you're already registered in eVA, which is great. Okay. Yeah, laptop over here. I mean, not a laptop. I know it. It's right in here. It's the check.
Oh, it looks like they have something plugged up in this one. No worries.
Okay. Now, recording. I don't want to record or stop the recording.
I have to see. Because normally, what we do is because we put this online after, so everybody else has access to it.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Because I mean, we're not going into anything personal. And I share this, even if we had a group that would have shared the information. So it's nothing personal. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, but also I'm not sure if more people is gonna come in. So, but I can edit it out
This is good stuff. Okay. Also, oh, what do we want? Yeah, I can get lunch here after 1 o'clock. That'll be fine.
After one.
Yeah. And where you want to go from?
Wherever.
You tell me what's nearby.
So we have a Chick-fil-A on campus. We have a Chick-fil-A on campus, a Subway on campus. Now if you want to go off campus,
What campus is that?
on campus, so it either be Chick-fil-A or Subway. Those are the only two restaurants, unless you wanted to do the dining hall.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, chicken salad sandwich. Yeah, and fries.
Okay.
And barbecue sauce. I put barbecue sauce in fries.
Okay.
Hey, thank you. And I think all of that was recorded too. Okay. Okay, Bianca. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're going to get ready and jump into eVA. Okay, can you see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up or let me know. I'm at the eVA homepage.
Yes, I can see.
Great. Okay, so this is great, and eVA is a great tool. And I'll be honest with you, 95% of all the businesses I work with, particularly in one-on-ones, where we do a deep dive into eVA, regardless of how long they've been registered in eVA or how long they've been certified as a SWaM, have not seen what we're going to go through right now. Is because what happens is you get registered in eVA, you start receiving those solicitations, and you think that's all there is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into transparency. Actually, let's do this first. Let's go into, I'm going to look up your company. So we're going to go to the eVA supplier list, okay, down at the bottom of the homepage. And I'm going to click on that. I'm going to wait. And I'm going to wait. Okay, all right. So this is a listing of all of the firms that are registered in eVA, of which there are more than 60,000 companies registered here. So what's the name of your company?
Bianca Myrick Consulting.
Okay. Okay. Search. And then we wait. Okay, so you're listed here twice as Bianca Myrick and then Bianca Myrick Consulting. Okay, which is fine. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, okay, so I'm going to click on your vendor ID. Okay. And your vendor ID is going to identify your NIGP codes that you have. Trying to move this out of my way. Aha, you have the 91800. That's exactly the code you don't want to have. And I'll tell you why. We're going to go through this. I'm glad you had that code because it illustrates a point. Okay, but this tells me where you're located. Okay, and it gives your address, the address of your firm, and where you're located. Hold on one second. Okay, now, so you have that 91-800, that's your NIGP code. Okay. Now, back to the home page. I'm gonna click on transparency and come down to public spend reports. And then we're gonna open the public spend reports. And this is publicly accessed information. I'm not logged in. Okay, so anybody has access to this, everybody has access to this information. So we're gonna go to report 702, who's buying what I sell. Okay, I'm gonna click on that and I'm going to open it. And then we're going to look for specific NIGP codes. And for selecting the time period, we can either do a specified time period, calendar year or fiscal year. I'm going to do calendar year since we're still pretty close to the end of 2022. And we'll highlight 2022. And then I'm going to enter your NIGP code, that 91-800, which is a parent code. And we'll get into exactly what that means, okay? And you can, with all of these reports, you can enter as many codes as you like, just separated with a comma and no space. So not grammatically correct, just a comma and no space, and you can enter as many codes as you like. Then once you've done that, click on Run Report. And I'll share something with you. One of the first times I was showing this to someone, the person had about 10 or 12 different NIGP codes, and we entered all of the codes, and then we pressed enter. You literally have to click on Run Report. Because once we press enter, it cleared the field. So we had to re-enter everything. Okay, so you literally want to click on Run Report. That code, that 91-800, is really a catch-all. And you're probably seeing solicitations for all types of things under that code. Yeah, I'll show you how to fix that. So it's actually going into the procurement system, the state's procurement system, and pulling up all of the state solicitations based on the parameters we inputted. So based on that NIGP code for the calendar year 2022. It's pulling up all of the solicitations against that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so up here at the top left, it tells you the codes you ran it against. And again, you can run this against as many codes as you like, and you're gonna have multiple codes. It gives you the time frame, calendar year 2022. And then it tells you there's a total of 25 pages here. So This first column just lists the NIGP code. And if there were multiple codes, it would just list them numerically. There's no other significance. This next column, though, identifies the purchasing entity or the state agency that made the purchase. So even though Henrico County, as an example, uses the eVA system, they use that to put out solicitations. They don't report on the back end. So you won't, these are all historical solicitations, or solicitations that past solicitations for calendar year 2022. So while different entities may put information in on the front end to solicit responses, on the back end, state agencies are required to, and state agencies are the only entities allowed to put the information into eVA on the back end. So, so the purchasing entity here, Office of the Governor, Department of Military Affairs, Department of Emergency Management, and so on and so forth. Okay, this will list a specific agency. This next column is actually a link to the actual purchase order itself. It's a live link, but you really don't need that because all of the information from the purchase order has been transferred onto this report. And then here's the order date and the name of the company that got the order. So in this first example, Impact Makers, Inc., they got the order. Stantec Consulting Services, CNA Corporation, and so on and so forth. So this lists either your collaborators or your competitors, depending upon how you look at them. This next column identifies whether the company is SWaM certified. So in this first few examples here, none of these firms are SWaM certified, but then if you move down, as I scroll down, here's Emergency Management Partners, LLC, and they are SWaM certified. So what you see in that column will be either a blank space or a combination of S, W, M, the letter O, or SDV. So S is for small, women, W is woman owned, M is minority, and the letter O is for micro. And SDV is for service disabled veteran. But that tells you the SWaM designations of these firms. And then here's a line item number, because sometimes the buyers can and will break up the solicitation into multiple line items. But then here's a description of what was actually purchased. Okay, so again, all of this information is lifted directly from the purchase order. And then here's the pricing information. So it gives you the quantity, here's the hourly rate of $120 per hour, the number of hours, and then it gives you the total price for that solicitation or for that purchase order. Okay, so it gives you pricing information. But then it just gets gooder and gooder, because these last two columns identify the specific buyers and the buyer's contact information. So to give you the email address as well as their phone number. And you can and should take the opportunity to introduce yourself to these buyers, because at least you know they purchased within your space. And again, for solicitations less than $10,000, all they have to do is pick up the phone and call one SWaM certified firm. So that's why that SWaM certification, and specifically that micro certification, is so valuable to you. Now, in this format, you can't really do much with the data, but you see here where you can download it into Excel, and then you can manipulate the data. So once in Excel, then you can manipulate it and sort it however you deem appropriate. But this gives you your target list. Okay, so what I want to do at this point, I just want to go back into, okay, I just want to go back into this report for a second. Just going to look up the NIGP codes. Okay, so I'm going to look up NIGP codes. Now, the NIGP codes, their classification system, there are two levels. So if something ends, well, actually, there are three things I want to mention. If something starts with a 9, then that's going to be a service. And you certainly do, your service, or what you're providing starts with a 9. You provide services. If you were selling a tangible product, then it will start with some other digit. If something ends in a 00, that's a parent code. And I'm going to actually scroll down to the 9100 and take a look at consulting services, okay? And that's parent code 91800. I'm gonna click on the parent code, and then all of the subcategories come out, okay? So there's furnishings consulting, food service consulting, geological consulting, employee benefits consulting. And since you have that parent code ending in a 00, you're going to receive notices for each of these solicitations. And I see you shaking your head, yes. So you probably have already seen some things and probably thinking, why am I getting this stuff? Okay, so, but it's a strategic decision. You know, you can decide, you know, that, you know, and for consulting, I would advise you not to use the 91800. Because, you know, you see you're getting swamped with a bunch of things that really have nothing to do with the services you offer. But you would want to go in and identify specifically, and you can have and should have as many codes that are applicable. But you want to go in and identify each of the codes and select those codes. And you're going to change that on your eVA profile. Now, we have a few minutes, and I'm going to ask if you would come off of mute and tell me a little bit more about your business and what you do.
Yeah, so the consulting services I provide are specifically in the areas of organizational development, program development, like for youth programs, nonprofits, curriculum development, training and facilitation,
Okay.
specifically like in the areas of equity, trauma-informed support.
You said trauma?
Trauma-informed supports,
Okay.
equity.
Okay, so I'm going to type in training in the search engine, in the search space, and see what comes up here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, second thing I want to do after that is scroll down to the 90,000 level, because it's still a service, okay? So let's look at communication process. I'm going to click on this education/training services to see what comes out of there. Do any of these codes apply to what you do?
Yeah, 92416.
Okay, so I would suggest you write that number down, because you're going to add that number, and understand too, the codes, the NIGP codes, it's really more of an art than a science, in that it's not exacting. So you may have two different buyers calling the exact same service that they want to purchase by two different codes. So if something is sort of related to what you do, you may want to add that as well.
Got you.
So, because you don't know what the buyer is going to call it. Okay, so that was under training. Let me just click on consulting. Okay, 91838, which you're probably going to add anyway, looking at the consulting codes. So this is under consulting. Okay, that was training. Let's try. Did you say, so you said curriculum, is that sort of like educational, or do you want me to type it?
Yeah, that would be sort of educational, also like organizational development.
Okay, let's try organization, okay. Okay, so you're going to capture that when you look at all of the 91800 codes, the subcategories. Good. So you're going to make sure you have 91883. Okay, we did training. Let's just try curriculum. No, this is going to be, so given that it starts with a 7, it's a tangible product
Oh,
as
okay.
opposed to a service. So that's not, okay. Okay, but you get the idea of how this works.
Yeah, this is good.
Good. So you're going to, you know, again, in this search description, you're going to type in the different ways to describe to describe the services you offer. And you can have as many codes as you like. There's really no limit. And when you're running the reports, just remember to separate each code with a comma and no space. And you know, that report that we've ran, that report 702, you can actually run that same report against all of your codes once you find the correct ones. Okay, I'm going to take another liberty and just go into the eVA homepage for a second. And under Virginia Business Opportunities, there's an area called VIBE, V-I-B-E, and that stands for the Virginia Information Business Exchange. I'm going to click on that, and this allows you to post either an ad or a profile on your company. Now, this is viewed by other businesses, so buyers really don't spend time going into this area, but you can look to connect with other businesses and form relationships with them where you might want to form a teaming arrangement to go after a particular solicitation. You know, right now there are, what, 150 profiles in here, and there's 17 ads, but you know, there's no fee for this. It's just a way of extending your networking arm beyond your physical reach so that other companies can see who you are and reach out to you, and vice versa. Okay. Any questions on any of this?
No, this is really good information to know.
Great. Okay, so you can reach out to me. You have my email address, and we'll set up a time where we can do a virtual meeting, and we'll go through the SWaM application and see how else I might be able to benefit you or help you. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay, take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so Kenya, I guess we can end this. So thank you all for attending. I hope you got something out of this workshop. And remember, the services we offer at the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, all of the services we offer are free of charge.